Hello everyone, welcome back again. Today we are going in depth regarding Arena East residences, and finally I have a freehold property to talk about. The previous 3 videos I did were Lentor Central, One Marina Gardens and Bloomberry Residences. So if you're curious about those properties, do check my YouTube channel. You can view my property reviews over there. And all 3 of these projects were leasehold. And 2 of them, One Marina Gardens and Bloomsbury, were not really in the residential areas. So finally, I have a freehold property to talk about. And for District 15, right, actually it's not easy. I tell you why. Because while doing research for District 15, right, I discovered that there are too many factors to take note of. Firstly, leasehold or freehold. Big project or small project. And which part of the District 15 to examine. Because District 15 is very big. We have Tanjong Rhu all the way to Siglap and Amber Road. And the moment you start to do the permutation and calculation, right, for example, leasehold big project versus freehold no view, you will start to get confused. And for buyers, right, I can tell you it's not easy one. So today, my goal is to better help you to understand how to weigh up this freehold small project that has no view. Again, as usual, I will talk about the history, location and development surrounding this place. If you are really not interested in things like that, just fast forward to the one beta section, where I will start to explain the floor plans and price comparisons for the units and whether or not I think certain units can buy or not. So Arena East is in District 15. I feel that District 15 is one of the longest districts in Singapore because it spans from Tanjong Rhu MRT all the way to Siglap MRT. And you know it's how many MRT stops? 6 MRT stations rather. And the strangest thing is there's not a lot of HDB along this stretch. But yet, right, the transactions are very healthy in terms of the private properties. And here, we get a mixture of leasehold big projects, freehold big projects, and also freehold small projects. So when the leasehold big projects over here are launched, to me, it's a very good entry price into the area. That's why when Emerald of Katong, Tembusu Grand, and Grand Tamban launch, it gives upgraders who usually don't stay here, it gives them a very good chance of entering into this area of District 15 because the entry price quantum is quite affordable. And compared to the bigger floor plate units you get, for example, in like the Mayor and Amber projects, right, it's quite difficult to buy into a District 15 area. So the bigger leasehold projects have actually give buyers these opportunities to come into District 15, but they may or may not be already staying in District 15 itself. But as I mentioned, it gives them a chance to move into District 15. So the question also here is, what about these freehold projects, right? Because obviously they are not cheap. Later on, you'll find out more. And coming back to this location, Arena East is located at 6C and 6D Tanjong Rhu Road. Quite hard to see from this map, but over here is actually Fort Road. Although Arena East Residences is closer to Fort Road, but because the road entrance is this side, and this road over here is still Tanjong Rhu, that's why the address of Arena East Residences is still 6C and 6D Tanjong Rhu Road instead of Fort Road. And over here, obviously, is very near to the Katong Park MRT station, which recently opened last year, and also being closer to the city side. Here, you are close to the sports hub. And short drive down brings you to Suntec, CBD, and Marina Bay. And eastwards, you also have Katong, Joo Chiat, the Makan Cafe areas. Just a quick history here itself. I managed to get this map from the NUS Historical Libraries. So the arrow pointing here, this is the Fort area where Arena East Residences is. And on the next slide, I can show you which part is reclaimed. So this area, right, is the original land that is Singapore that is not reclaimed. And this circle part here is very familiar, right? Now it's actually the stadium, but last time it was actually Kallang Airport. And Tanjong Rhu is here. In the 1800s, Tanjong Rhu used to be a place associated with ship making and ship repair. Because the ships can drive in here, and then they can so-called repair the ships over this area. And in the 1900s, it became a heavily industrial area with shipyards. But due to the industrial waste, coming onto this whole area itself, right, they actually relocated the shipyards to other locations in Singapore. And with this relocation, right, they started to reclaim land along here, down all the way to East Coast area. So I've overlaid the historical map we saw just now with the current maps. Let me just draw out the current one. Let me just draw out the historical one. So you can see from here which part is reclaimed and which part is the original one. So they have previously reclaimed areas like Marina South, Gardens by the Bay, the Marina Bay Golf Course. The Suntec area also is reclaimed, together with several parts of the Marine Parade Estate. So just now we mentioned that Tanjong Rhu area used to be a shipyard area, right? But what about the Fort area here itself? Firstly, Why is it called fort? It's because this place is one of the oldest military forts built by the British in the 1800s, and the fort is at the current Katong Park. This fort, right, is one of the only kind to be along the eastern side of the island. And this is actually a part of a series of defensive fortifications along the southern coast of Singapore. And if you're familiar with history, together with Sentosa, actually the guns were pointing south because the British expected the invasion or any possible invasions to come from the sea, from the south. But end up, the Japanese came from the north by bicycles. So anyway, back to this fort. Because of the poor structural design of this being one of the earliest ones, so the structural design back then wasn't poor, and the remoteness of this location, that means to bring the ammunition here, to supply the ammunition from Sentosa or what's not, from Fort Canning to come here, honestly, is quite remote. So the fort was subsequently abandoned until its rediscovery in 2001. Then in the 1900s, in 1930, it was reopened as a park together with Singapore's first public sea swimming enclosure, not swimming pool, it's a sea swimming enclosure, that was called Katong Park Bathing Pagar. And thereafter, because of the land reclamation works, all these were stopped. And it now serves as a park for the residents over here. Over here, there are still two sculptures of the British and Sikh Guards. This is to commemorate the Mountie Ethnic Civil Defence Forces in the 1800s. And these two sculptures were actually donated by a resident called Mr. Jack Sim. He is actually the founder of WTO, the World Toilet Organization. And just now we mentioned in the year 2001, the fort was buried and rediscovered, right? It was also discovered by Mr. Jack Sim. So 3 years later, the government used a team of archaeologists to excavate this forgotten fort. Enough of history, let's come back to the location. So this is Tanjong Rhu. It's actually quite close to town. And it is surrounded by two water body park and activity areas here. We have Kallang, and then we also have East Coast. So we are close to town, and we have two sources of leisure area. Yet, on the east side, you also get to access the happening areas in Katong and Joo Chiat with their nice cafes and restaurants. If I want like those kind of Zhao Pai heritage hawker, I can still head down to Old Airport Road area. The advantage, right, is that with all these activity nodes, we have the parks, the beaches, CBD, the cafes, and then with the heritage makan areas, right? The advantage is that this fort area is actually quiet among the activity areas, which is to me very good. And what is the important thing about being quiet? Because if you want to be near town, usually it's noisy or quiet. It's noisy ma, but to be near town and to be quiet, is it easy to get or not? I can tell you maybe it's not easy to get this kind. And from here by car, you can easily access here to ECP, which leads you to MCE and KPE. So over here, it's just a short drive, 10 minutes to CBD. And if you go eastwards via ECP, it's only about 15 minutes to the airport. So essentially, it's quiet. You can go by car quickly to town. You can go by car quickly to airport. And now with the MRT that opened last year, just 3 minutes walk to the MRT, even more powerful. You can take this train, just 4 stops, you will reach Shenton Ray. So in fact, right, maybe you take MRT from here, you reach office, can be faster compared to you drive car and go to the office there. Because once you go to office, sometimes in the morning there's jam, and also you need time to find parking. So end of the day, maybe if you stay here, you might not even need to drive to work on certain days of the week. One very, very big development here is the Kallang area, which is one of the areas I mentioned just now, the leisure areas. I've stayed in the east area for about 4 years before, but I stayed in the Katong area. I've never stayed in the Mayor Tanjong Rhu area, so I'm not so familiar with the Kallang side. But just last week, I happened to view the show flat, and the show flat is in Kallang. So after that, when I walk around, I got a shock. Because for me, I'm an introvert, so I usually don't like go to Kallang to attend concert. And nowadays, I also don't go play contact sports like football, all this. And I also don't cycle. So I actually rarely come to this place. But when I'm here, right, I feel like, wow, this place actually changed a lot, right? So that's why when you're considering buying another location, I really advise before you say, no, I don't want to stay there, or I don't want to buy there, because you're not familiar, or you think that place is ulu. I really urge you to go down, see the area, and drive around the area, walk and feel the area first. Because in Singapore, right, the developments are very, very fast. Last time there got no things, does not mean that now that place no things. So that place last time is ulu to you, now that place, is it really ulu or not? I can tell you maybe it's not. One example is at Canberra. If you don't stay there, you think it's ulu, somehow it's at the north. Okay, you might not even heard of this place. But now that place have a new MRT, it has a mall, and it has a Bukit Canberra with indoor sports hall, and so many young people stay there now, and the vibes there have already changed. Okay, so I think I sidetracked a lot. Coming back to Kallang, literally this whole place is a change place. Really, really many things you can do there. And the best thing here is, right, People that come here to do activities, right? Because there are not many houses nearby. And for them to travel here to do these sports and activities, right? Are they happy or not happy? They are definitely happier one. Because compared to you go downstairs and exercise, it's different compared to you travel here to do sports. Because I really want to come here to do these sports. So last week when I walk over here, right, the vibes are very, very nice one. I mean, in terms of like the people around here. Let's say if you are living at the Fort area, okay, you still have to ride the bicycle here or maybe take a very, very long walk here. Even then, right, I think you'll enjoy the vibes of this place. After exercise here, just go back to the quiet area. I feel it's quite chill one. I really talking a lot off track already lah. But actually, if you want to buy here for own stay, I really feel that all these things are important. So for the numbers part, don't worry. Later I'll explain a bit more. And just coming back to the Kallang Sports Hub for a bit, you see this track here, right? You can actually jog along here. I've seen people playing volleyball around this area. And then from here you can actually see MBS, which is quite nice. All these places are very windy. And that day when I walk around the sports area, right, I really feel that, you know that feeling when you go overseas, when you go to those big football stadiums, you feel like that place is very majestic because really everything, the scale is just so big, right? And then when you stand there, you just feel so small. Last time, without all these developments, when I pass by the area or when I go there, I don't have this feeling. But now, when you go there, I assure you the feeling is there. So it feels like a very, very grand place in terms of the stadium. And even the other things have already opened, like the tennis center and the football hub, all this. So it's a very, very nice place to do activities. And as I mentioned earlier on, the vibes is really good. Moving on, if you didn't know, right, this whole big piece of land here, this is the reclaimed land. So last time is the Marina Bay Golf Course. Of course, the lease have ended in 2024. And potentially this big piece of land can be used to do other things next time. When I went to search further on, I seen in the URA, okay, but this is under the long-term plan, okay, Marina East, which is this area here. In the future, it will be most likely be used for housing as well. But when, how fast, we don't know. Okay, like I mentioned in my earlier Bloomsbury video, what they will do, we don't know. Okay, maybe housing, but how many housing I also don't know. So I prefer to count more on plans that are more confirmed. So this is the locational maps here. I'll insert some of the schools that are within 1 to 2 km over in this slide. So when we analyze this locality, right, okay, just now we were talking about the Marina Bay Golf Course area. There are other confirmed things here already because Marina Bay haven't confirmed yet, even though we know, they're going to build houses, but how many and when we don't know. Okay, but what we do know over here is that some of the BTOs that are going to be slated already. So just over at the left side here, I have Bugis area. Here we have, I think, 2 to 3 BTO projects, even though in this map we can only see 1. And then over at the Kallang, we also have 1 project here. Together with those in Dakota, Mountbatten area, we have Dakota 1 and we have Dakota Crest. And just right near to Fort, we have 3 projects. 3 BTO clusters. So with HDB clusters, what do they normally build? You have kopitiam, you have the coffee shop, you have bakery, you have clinic, you have hardware shop, and you have supermarket. All of them are usually centered along under the multi-story car park, and all these will actually bring about more convenience to all residents here, regardless of HDB and condo. We also have the Kallang Riverside plans announced by URA. This one we already know they're going to build housing. And then for here at Nico Highway area, right, what you will notice, right, is that there are MRT here, but these plots of land is still under reserve. Whether they will touch or not, I'm not sure, but we have seen that the MRT is already there, but the land is empty lah. Then of course we have the Kallang Alive plan, which we have talked about just now, together with the Geylang rezoning. So this Geylang, this portion is actually already rezoned to commercial. So anything that comes that that is torn down, they will have to do commercial developments instead of residential that we have now. Here at the Mountbatten is the most expensive landed part of District 15. It's not just about the location, but over here, as you can see, right, the houses here are big one. You can see here is under the 2-story bungalow land zone. So what it means, right, is that you can only have bungalow here. You cannot build terraces here and you cannot have semi-Ds here. So the price here will be high or low. Okay, and when it comes to freehold condo in this area, right, are these condo units the one that these landed owners will buy? Later on, we will find out more as well. So Arena East is the en bloc of the former La Ville condo. You can see en bloc is really not easy nowadays lah. Okay, even if all the owners agree for the land to be en bloc, it also depends on whether the developers want to buy or not. Because nowadays for developers, the construction costs are high, material costs are high, and to buy this piece of land, right, they need to pay ABSD first upfront. Okay, and if it's an en bloc, they need money to tear down the existing structure. They also need more money to pay the owners of La Ville in order to en bloc this land. It's really, really not easy lah. And for La Ville, it took 3 times before successfully en bloc. Don't ask me usually it will take how long it takes to en bloc lah, because this kind of things is very hard to say one. What I notice is usually 1 to 2 times is not enough one. When it comes to 1 to 2 times, right, what I mean is 1 to 2 times after all the owners agree to en bloc, after they get 80%, then they put the land up for sale. No developer want to buy, that's what I meant. For here, La Ville, we have the tall building here. We also get 1 short building which is part of La Ville. So these will be the 2 blocks that will be built in this development. This is 1 block, this one is another block. Developer is ZACD. They are listed in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and their most recent development is still undergoing construction over at Landmark. So recently I was walking along Chinatown Point after I eat my hot pot. Last time is cannot see the building come up one, and then because it's quite far away, just recently I went there, I can see the tower being built up already. So here are the project details. We have 107 units, housed in 2 blocks of 20 stories, and car park lots is 86. I find it quite reasonable because it's near MRT, and 40% of the unit types are 2-bedroom and 15% of the unit types are 1-bedroom. So essentially, more than half of the units are already 1 and 2-bedroom units. And most likely, most of them don't have car one. For this project, the architect and landscape consultant is Ong and Ong. Ong and Ong is founded by our first elected president, Mr. Ong Teng Cheong. So 1-bedroom sizes here, we are ranging at 495 square feet. 2 bedrooms from 678 to 861 square feet. 3 bedrooms, 969 to 1238 square feet. And lastly, for 4 bedrooms, we have 1324 to 1679 square feet. So from here, you will know who is the target audience already. People who are looking for larger sizes compared to the other new launches which have a smaller floor plate. Coming to the design thinking of how to make the blocks, right? So if there's one big block here that contains the 107 units, the footprint of the block is very, very big. There's limitation in terms of how you want to orientate the facing. And if the facing I put this way, let me use my red ink if it's like that, looking out here and here, directly you'll be blocked already. If I do it this way, the project totally don't have no view. It's really looking into the neighbors one. The thinking is changed from 1 block into 2 blocks. And with this, you get more flexibility in terms of the block placement because one you can put here, one you can put here. But for them, they choose to put it these two. Secondly, right, when you split the blocks into this, okay, if this is 4 units, if this is 2 units, then every unit here is a corner unit. Don't know whether you can see from my drawing. But you know, right, to build 2 blocks instead of 1, it will cost more because you will need more materials, you will need to dig more ground, you have to build more lifts. It's definitely more expensive to build 2 blocks instead of 1. Okay, and since already split into 2 blocks where all units are corner units, to enhance the feeling of this project, they have done up an elevated deck here. That means instead of having the units at ground floor, everything will be elevated above the ground, and over here we still have a deck. So we have ground level, we have the deck, and then we have the first units on the lowest floor. And this will make the condo feel more premium. Later I'll show you the pictures. Lastly, since the facilities are already at bottom here, to get some sky views for everyone, the blocks here have been connected via a sky bridge on level 19 and level 20 to allow all residents to come up to enjoy the view. At the same time, to heighten the ceilings at the top floor units, to give penthouses with the extra ceiling space, and that's something we rarely will get to see because now all the projects are already harmonized, but for Arena East it's non-harmonized because they bought the land earlier. So this is the result of the plans we saw just now. We get 2 blocks of modern looking building, and here is the elevated deck which is above street level. Therefore, when you drive up to the reception lobby, right, you have to drive up here one, meaning that everything is elevated. So the first unit here, even though it's called the 2nd floor, technically in terms of the height compared to street level, right, it's already 4th floor already. That means over here at 20th floor, technically it's around 24th floor. Okay, and over here, this is where we have 2 units per level. And this block, we have 4 units per level. All are corner units. For this block here, we have 2 units. So one of them have private lift. And then for the other unit, there are 2 common lifts. That's why I say it's very expensive to build 2 blocks. All units are corner units. And do you know why is this important or not? Because today, right, who do you think will buy the freehold over here? Bear in mind, there are other leasehold big projects here like Tembusu Grand, Emerald of Katong, right, which is cheaper. Why will people choose to buy freehold here? Or rather, who will be the buyers of such freehold properties, right? I can tell you, usually it's people who only want to buy freehold properties. That means they don't want to buy leasehold. Their comparisons will be only based on freehold. Okay, that means when I buy a property, it has to be freehold one, cannot be leasehold one. That kind of mentality, right, usually is for people staying in landed. Okay, so even when they buy condo, they usually have this kind of mentality. And one of their common concern is the ventilation of the house, especially when it comes to the bathroom. That's why this condo is able to address such needs because the developers here, they know their target audience. And this is the drive-in reception area. So remember that this is already an elevated deck. By right, all this should be covered. So to enhance the experience here, there's an opening to allow the light to come in. We have 2 pools at level 2. So this one is the main pool, and this one is the kids pool together with the clubhouse, and then over here we have the playground also. We also have another pool on the 20th floor. That one is another kind of experience. This is the footprint of the building. So just to orientate you, the MRT is around here. We have a few more condos here, and then here is the main road. And then for this project, one thing I feel that is important is to take note that there's a side gate here. Okay, why? Because in front there are HDB blocks, and nestled among these blocks you have makan, you have the food center over here. I think it's the Jalan Batu Food Center. So most of the facilities are on the second floor. That's where the pools are, the jacuzzi, the water exercise, and then just now as we mentioned, the kids play area together with the playground and the clubhouse are over at this side. And then for the car, in terms of the ingress and egress, they have to come in here. Okay, if need be, they will go to the elevated deck here, and then to go into the condo via the basement will be this way, and then when they come out is via the other way. So this is actually a loop, a one-way loop. And at higher floors, we have two levels of facilities at the link bridge. The first one is on the 19th floor and the second one is on the 20th floor. So 19th floor, we have the lounge area. On the 20th floor, we have the sky pool together with the gym around there. So I think when you're doing exercise, it's going to be very nice. Together with a BBQ pavilion there. When you invite your guests over, they get to enjoy the views of the area as well. Left side here is the BBQ area at level 20. And then on the right side is the lounge area at level 19. Coming down to the design inspirations, right? Nowadays for condos that are not in the city, usually they will want to make the place feel cozy. So the trend nowadays is to give the warm neutral feeling. And Arena East is no exception. One main difference here is that the materials used for Arena East is a bit different. Later I'll show you more. Because why? The intended buyers are from where? From landed ma. So these buyers, right, they will be very concerned about the materials used because a lot of them, they actually built their own house and they have very, very clear knowledge about materials. Therefore, when it comes to a show flat, this is the one that they will display. For the flooring, they will be doing it via digital twin technology. This is traditionally only used for GCB projects. So what they do is to make sure that the cutting, all this is really millimeter perfect in terms of the precision, so that everything will be seamless and it ensures a smooth, uninterrupted surface that makes it looks very well made. And then for this particular unit type in the show flat, okay, do you know that the whole living dining area here, only 12 tiles are needed because they use the ultra large format tiles. That is very, very nice. So this not only enhances the home's aesthetic appeal, but it also maximizes the durability. For the sanitary fittings, they are using Grohe and Miller, and the color that comes with it is more towards the goldish tone that we see here in the bathrooms and the dry kitchen and wet kitchen area. If I'm not wrong, okay, all the wall tiles and the countertops that we see here is very nice. They're actually made of sintered stone, which are not commonly found in today's projects. So if you compare around the new projects, right, this is actually one of the better ones to use for housing. Just to orientate, this is the Formula View side, which is Arena East now. And then this will be northwards. Earlier on, I was talking about the side gate, right? So it will actually come out over here. And then this is actually the HDB estate where you will have the food center, Jalan Batu over here. According to this map, I think the MRT will be more towards this side, which is a few minutes walk away. Just now we mentioned that this project is actually 20 stories, but technically it feels like 24th floor. So if you compare with the surrounding, actually the surrounding buildings are quite tall. Like we have something going from about 16 to 18 stories. But luckily this one, even though it's at 20th floor, the actual height is about 24th floor. You will have clearance, but it will only be the top few floors. But I recommend that if you want to buy this project, right, it's better that you don't go for the views. Later I'll explain a bit more. Anyway, these are the drone views from the 20th floor. Okay, so you can see from the 20th floor, you get to see the sea over here. And you also get to see the CBD and the sports hub lah. The bottom picture is the same direction, same stack, it's just that it's 4 stories lower. And then I think what they're trying to show you here is that at 16th floor, you still get to see over to the CBD area in Marina Bay. You don't really get a sea view over here at level 16. And here is the elevation chart. So in terms of the block view, for example, this stack here, stack 5, what are the unit types? And something special about this project is that at certain levels, right, the unit type can be bigger. So for example, you can see here in stack 6, from level 2 to 6 is actually a 3-bedroom. And then above level 6, these are actually 4 bedrooms. And at certain levels, right, the units are even combined to make into one. So this unit at 1903 is actually a combination of 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms here. So it means that some of the layouts here are very, very rare. In fact, it can be one of the kind in this project. Moving on to the 1 bedroom. There is only one stack of 1-bedder, thankfully. And for this 1-bedder, right, I don't think you can get 1 bedroom as a corner unit nowadays. In fact, even for corner units, for 2 bedrooms, it's actually very hard as well. So this is something that is very rare in the market. Furthermore, it also has a storeroom. The rest to me are pretty standard lah. There's nothing much more you can build in a 1-bedroom. But as mentioned just now, because it being a corner unit, you do get the ventilation windows over here at the master bathroom. So the question now is, does sea view matters for 1-bedroom or not? As mentioned at the start, right, it's very hard to quantify and compare units because there are too many variables already. We have freehold, we have leasehold, we have big project, small project, we have new project, all project. So over here, right, I have tried to get 2 condos as similar as possible in terms of them being freehold, in terms of them having similar unit count, and similar TOB dates. So here, right, what I really want to test is just the facing. We have 2 properties over here. They TOP around quite a close timing, 2022, 2023. However, one of the properties over here, right, is along the beachfront. This one is Coastline Residences. which has less than 200 units. And then we have one more that is further back, it's called Neon. So for Coastline Residences, right, they have one stack over here that is actually facing over towards the park, and you can actually see the sea from the unit itself here. Both units were bought around the same time and also sold around the same time as well. We can see here, right, because this unit is sea view, okay, the PSF is actually priced into the view. Therefore, this sea view unit at Coastline was purchased at 2007, while the non-sea view unit was purchased at 2003. Okay, but during the exit, when they sell in the resale market, the sea view just managed to sell close to 2008 PSF, while the non-sea view unit have to sell just at 2006 will do. He doesn't even need to touch 2007, but yet the profit is already more than the sea view facing unit. And how about two units at the same condo? So one will be at the higher floor where you will get sea view clearance, and then the other one is at the lower floor. So at 4th floor, obviously no sea view because too low floor already. But end up what happened? Actually the same thing happened, similar to just now. Therefore, for One Bedder, right, my conclusion is that for smaller freehold projects, it may not matter as much in terms of having sea view or no sea view. And most likely these units are not for own stay. So the exit strategy must be there in terms of being able to leverage on other units to exit. So just now we saw that the sea view here, they purchased at 2007, right? If I can get a non-sea view unit, 1 bedroom doing 2004, can I consider this unit or not? And also, right, if a non-sea view unit, if it's already done 2004, okay, should I pay 2006 for another non-sea view unit? Right, that's the question, so I shouldn't, correct? So when it comes to pricing, right, when we compare the latest new launch, okay, I have to use Mayor Mansion over here, which TOP in 2024, because Mayor Blue doesn't have 1 bedroom. And if I use Mayor Mansion 1 bedroom, these stacks are non-facing. And earlier on we mentioned, right, non-facing, my preference is non-facing to non-facing is best not to overpay. And in fact, it's better to pay similar prices. So looking at the recent done 1 bedroom non-sea facing at Mayor Mansion, they have done 3001 for the latest ground floor. And this was in 2022 already. So now in 2025, right, if I calculate the price matrix for Arena East, meaning that I take the size, multiply by possible PSF values. Okay, these are by no means the official prices yet. It's just me calculating based on some PSF values here. Personally, I would consider Arena East 1 bedroom if the PSF range is around here, or rather the price range is around here. Okay, anything more I really won't consider. And for the 2 bed 1 bath, let's look at the floor plan. It's nice here that you even get a tuck-in kitchen. And here even have a window. So both rooms are good size. You can put a queen bed at least over here. The only thing, right, is that I wish this storeroom, right, instead of a storeroom, I wish that they converted this to another toilet. So one thing to take note, right, because this one is at stack 1, okay, 678 square feet. Do you remember that there will be a link bridge between these two blocks, right? So the link bridge will probably look something like that. Okay, we have to go to the show flat again to take a look. Okay, so my concern, right, is that if you buy the floor level too high, right, let's say for example 18th floor, okay, you will be just directly under the bridge. Even 17th floor also will be below. So this can actually effectively block the unit. That means the bridge can actually, hover over the unit. And depends, some people will say this can help to shelter the unit over the rain, and even during raining you can open the window, but some people may not like it as well. So this is something that you should take note of if you're considering the 2 bed 1 bath. I recommend you go down to the show flat and have a look at the site model. So my question over here, right, just now we were saying that 1 bedroom, whether the view matter or not. My second question here is, for 2 bed 1 bath, right, is the layout important or not? Do the buyers here actually pay for a better layout for 2 bed 1 bath or not? To test this, right, we have 2 projects over here. Over to the left we have Amber 45 and Neon. Both are in District 15 or so. So you can see from the pictures, right, the view is more or less the same one. Okay, in a sense that they are actually being blocked. So it's no view one. You can see over here on the left side, Amber 45. It's a very nice dumbbell layout, which is actually quite popular with buyers in today's market. And over here, you even have a tuck-in kitchen. And on the other side, right, we have Neon. The layout, instead of being dumbbell, is actually more longish, like that. It becomes very long until this part don't know what to do. And then they have the electrical box here, which you cannot remove. And also the common bedroom, right, when you come into this side, the window, right, is actually looking out this way. Okay, already sideways already, but yet the window is still very small. So this room will actually be very dark. Which is the better layout in your opinion? Okay, can I say that most people will say that this one is a better layout? And some more, right, both when they buy, right, they actually are of the same price. both around the 1.4 range. So this 1.62 is even higher price than the 9th floor of Amber 45 leh. But end up, right, when they start to sell, actually regardless of high floor and low floor, this neon unit, right, actually sold for a higher price leh, at 1.8. Okay, but the one at 1 Amber only sold for 1.65 leh. Okay, I'm not saying that Amber 45 here is bad lah. Doesn't mean that neon is good also leh. Because for neon 1 bedroom non-sea facing, right, the profit is less than the coastline 1 bedroom non-sea facing leh. So over here, I'm not trying to say, oh, Amber 45 is not good. I'm also not trying to say neon here is very good. It's not necessarily a better project. But now, what I'm trying to say here is that, does the layout matter for 2 bed 1 bath or not? In fact, right, the price quantum might not even matter leh. Because you can see, obviously just now we have already discussed, this layout may not be the best. So at the same price, 1.4, this one actually sell higher leh. Okay, and even pay higher price, 1.629, also can sell around 1.8 leh. But why this one buy 1.4, sell at 1.65 only? Because if you observe carefully, right, it's actually the PSF. So here they enter at 2000, 2002, and then when they exit below 2006. Okay, so why is this so? Again, it's the profile of the buyers. Okay, because I can tell you the typical buyer, right, when they buy, for normal buyers, the price quantum is the most important thing, especially in OCR areas. But over here is different. So what kind of buyers, right, they will look more at the PSF rather than the size of the unit making the quantum high. That means they don't care about the size. Okay, as long as the PSF is good, they will buy. Some of these two projects are freehold. Okay, usually again, same like the 1 bedroom, right? The resale buyers that buy these kind of units are coming from landed. That is my conclusion. Because for them, it's like landed. Okay, the land size slightly bigger, they don't mind. As long as the PSF low, right, they will take. So when it comes to the resale market, you can see that even though this unit sold here at 1.8 million, even at a higher quantum, right? But because the PSF is lower, these buyers are willing to accept paying a higher price quantum, but getting a slower PSF. Okay, but next time if they want to sell easy or not, it really depends because this one already flipped hand one time, and if they need to sell again, okay, they must make sure that they find the same kind of buyer to sell to because if they sell to the typical buyer again, the buyer won't accept, because right now the price is totally different. One is 1.8, one is 1.6, and then next time 1.6 needs to sell how much? Can they sell 1.8 or not? And then this 1.8 next time they need to sell how much? They maybe need to sell 2 million. So the future buyer, right, for the same low PSF that they are considering for the 721, does it match up to the price that they want to pay or not? That's the main question. Okay, so it's quite tricky over here. Okay, same thing. These are other units but belonging to the same projects. Okay, during that time when they buy in 2018, 2019, price quantum is about the same. Okay, again when they exit, this one sell for higher price. Okay, so it's really about the PSF lah. And the PSF, the gap, right, is about 7 to 12% when they exit. That means even though this one exit at a higher quantum, the PSF is still 7 to 12% lower than the smaller unit. The latest new launches, Mayor Blue and Mayor Mansion, they do not have 2 bed 1 bath. So the closest comparison that I can find is actually at 1 Mayor. And 1 Mayor over here, instead of 2 bed 1 bath, also 2 bed 2 bath lah. But this is the closest one that I can find already. Okay, so for 1 Mayor, right, it's far away from the sea and then from the sea, right, the trees are quite tall. So in order to get sea view, right, you have to go up above 13th floor that you can get sea view lah. Okay, so coming back to this pricing, right, these are the units transacted that don't have the sea view one. And for a 2 years old unit, it's done around the 2009 range last year. Okay, so for Arena East, same thing for 2 bed 1 bath, right? In terms of the PSF, I also will consider only around this range. Anything higher, I really won't buy lah. Sorry. Coming to 2 bed 2 bath, we have facings on both sides. That means one side more towards the northern view, and the second towards more of the southern view lah. So this one is more for the northwards view, northeast facing. Okay, and what I like about this one is that when you step in, firstly the visibility here is wider. Because when you step in, you can see until here already, your field of vision. So this kind of visibility, right, when you step into the house, it will make the house feel bigger, even though it's not bigger than the other one. And then for this unit, I get a bomb shelter. And for the master bedroom, even with a king bed, I have 2 side tables. And I still have space. That's the thing that I like about the larger 2 bedroom units lah. Because in the typical market, 2 bed 2 bath right now is only about 600 plus square feet. Okay, and if you give me a choice for own stay, in terms of this layout, for me, I will probably hack away this part. I will shift the fridge over to this area. Okay, so let me just shift this fridge over here. I will hack this part. And then the washer and dryer, right, I will shift this one nearer to this side. So the dining table, I will shift here, this side. And then this area is free up already. So here, I can have another study area, or I can just treat it like an extended living area. It will make the living space feels more bigger. And then we have the bigger one at 786 square feet, which is at stack 3. Take note, this unit is only available from the 2nd to 9th floor of stack 3 because 10th floor and above is 3 bedrooms already. Okay, so what is the difference between 2nd to 9th floor, this 2 bed 2 bath, and the 10th floor and above 3 bedrooms, right? It's actually here lah. So later on when we see the 3-bedroom unit, the only difference is that here they have another bedroom. The advantage here, right, is that this is the bigger of the 2-bed 2-bath ma. Okay, so for 2-bed 2-bath, if the floor size is bigger, and if the floor level too high, right, the PSF might be too high, and end up it can actually be very unaffordable for this unit. I like that they limit the range until 9th floor to keep the quantum lower. And just now we have seen, right, for sea view units, even if you get sea view for 1 bedroom, it doesn't matter, especially if it's for freehold, small projects. Then my question now here is, for 2-bed 2-bath, are the views important or not? Here, I will show you more. Again, here I have coastline residences. This time round, right, the 2-bed 2-bath is over at this corner, so the sea view is directly just in front one. You can also say that maybe this unit is very noisy because the expressway is just right in front. Okay, and for expressway, it's 24 hours the car will pass by one. And then over here, we have Amber 45. This one is nearer to the shops at the Katong area, while coastline is further away, but coastline actually nearer to MRT. Again, you can see from the picture here that Amber 45, the view is totally blocked one. This time round, right, I give you 3 choices. Okay, choice 1, sea view unit, 16th floor, 1.98 million. Okay, the other 2, 5th floor of coastline. Obviously no sea view because you likely will be facing the trees or the road at 1.72 million. And I give you another choice, the biggest unit, 732 square feet, high floor also, around same price, 1.76 million, cheaper than 1.98 million, 2 million, but no sea view. Can I ask you which one will you choose? Some more for the 732 square feet here, right, the PSF is lower because the unit is bigger ma. End up, which one perform better? This sea view, right, the PSF is the highest. But you can see it also sold as the highest PSF. And the gain is how much? Close to 400,000. Compared to the bigger unit that bought cheaper, okay, this one, the gain is only about 230,000. Again, I'm not saying that all these projects are lousy. My thought process here is just that whether for sea view, 2-bed 2-bath, freehold small project, do people pay more or not? Okay, and you can see the PSF gap for selling, right? The per square foot gap right here is about 19 to 25% more. So my conclusion here, right, is that there are people who buy 2-bed 2-bath for own stay. Okay, but these people who buy for own stay, higher chance when they buy 2-bed 2-bath, they will want to buy sea view one. That's why they are willing to pay much more for the sea view unit. Conclusion here is, sea view matter for 2-bed 2-bath? Yes, it does matter because those that are buying 2-bed 2-bath, especially facing the sea, they are buying for own stay and they are very willing to pay more. And we can see from behind, just now, the gap is about 25%. That means they are willing to pay 25% PSF higher than the non-sea facing unit. Okay, if the gap is more than 25%, then maybe you have to think about it whether or not, even though you buy a sea view, is worth it or not. Let's say if you're buying at this sea view that's priced 40% more in terms of PSF compared to the non-sea view unit, then I will recommend you to buy the non-sea view unit instead because the price that is 40% markup is really too high already. Since we clear the sea view units, right, then what about for 2-bed 2-bath, right? What about those units that are non-sea view? Okay, all these properties here, I have 2 at Amber Park. They all TOP around the same time, and then 1 at Coastline. And all of them have no sea view. Okay, here we get 5th floor, here we get 6th floor, here we get 7th floor. Same thing, they purchase around the same time of 1.7. Okay, you can see end of the day, the selling, right, is actually about the same price also. So to me, right, if it's non-sea view, then it depends on the pricing really. It's similar to the 2-bed 1-bath we saw just now. If no sea view, then the pricing have to be similar. Otherwise, if there's a price gap, then the property purchased at the lower price, very high chance they will appreciate more than the property purchased at the higher price if both are non-sea view. So now we compare with the other 2-bed 2-bath launches around. Over here we have Mayor Blue, 710 square feet, that is non-sea facing. Average PSF here you can see is 3,002. Non-sea facing, facing the landed one. In terms of the layout, I honestly prefer the 797 square feet one. My reason is not because this unit is smaller, okay, but layout wise, I prefer this one because like I mentioned just now, I have a wider view when I go inside this unit. And secondly, right, I have more flexibility when it comes to the layout because let's say if I buy this unit for own stay, really I'm going to so-called hack everything. I shift the fridge here, then the dining I'm going to shift here so that I get a bigger living space overall. So I get more flexibility with the 797 square feet. And for this unit, I will consider around similar price range, 3,002. But for the 861 square feet, right, only if the PSF is cheap, right, then I maybe consider. Okay, otherwise I will skip this 861 square feet. So for 3 bedrooms, we will start with the 3-bed 2-bath first. As I mentioned earlier on, it's the same as the 861 square feet 2-bed 2-bath, the larger 2-bed 2-bath, just that this side we have 1 more bedroom. So for this unit, no choice. You only can choose high floor, which is 10th floor to 18th floor. One of the reasons why I didn't choose the 861 square feet, for this unit, I have a similar reason also because when I come in, okay, even though I can see the kitchen here, overall I feel that this space feels like very narrow until I come in here. Personally, I don't really like this kind of feeling, and for the dining to be here, right, it will make the living room feel quite cramped. So I rather they shift the bomb shelter to somewhere else, and then I can shift the dining here so that my whole living area feels bigger. But for this layout, I cannot do that because it's bomb shelter. So I think in terms of the layout, I don't really prefer this one. If I compare with the other current launches here, right, Mayer Blue at 990 square feet, 3 bed, 2 bath. Okay, this one facing sea some more, and all the bedrooms are on one side. Okay, for Arena East, two of the bedrooms are here, and then one of the bedrooms are inside. So this bedroom may be a bit dark one. And then for the Mayer Blue, this side also all facing sea. And they have a separate dining area over here. So I'm so sorry, I won't even consider this layout lah. I'm very sorry. Okay, because this sea view alone is only 3,002. So this one no sea view, and I don't really like the layout, right? I will skip the 3 bed 2 bath for this Arena East layout, and this is just my personal preference lah. Moving on to the 3 bed 3 bath. Starting from the 3 bed 3 bath onwards, right? I actually like this block. Why? Because for unit stack 6 later, you can see, right? Here have private lift. Even though this stack 5 they don't have private lift, but there's 2 common lifts here. So stack 5 have 2 common lifts to serve. Actually, it's even better. To me, it's as good as a private lift also, and you're not really sharing the lift with a lot of people. And if I'm not wrong, this should be the unit that is the show flat unit for this project. It's very nice. Just now as mentioned, I think they are using sintered stone for the kitchen tops over here. It's very beautiful. We got dishwasher, and then for the bathroom also, we are using sintered stone. You also get a wardrobe tucked in over at this side, and over here you still have some space to put other things. And my only gripe here, right, is that I wish the living room, the dining area is, you get more of the view outside, okay? Because right now, the living is here, and then the balcony is like that, I would have wished that the dining area, right, to be like part of here, so that can enjoy the view also. But for this one, actually, our dining is more towards this side, which is not as close to the balcony area already. So this is one thing that I feel is a bit pity about this layout. And the next 1195 square feet is similar to the previous 1087 square feet, very similar. Okay, just that the balcony here, okay, is actually shifted this side and then it's smaller. And then the wet kitchen area this side is actually bigger. When we free up the space at the living room area, right, I feel here it's actually become quite useful. It's an extra feed up space from the living room. And this unit is the one and only unit because it's at the Skybridge level at level 19. So end up, right, at this side, right, instead of having one more unit here, now this unit don't have. So now you become the only unit here. So I believe, right, when you open up the doors and when you open up the windows, right, okay, because the wind will flow through like that, okay, this unit will be very windy one. And just now when we saw the view at 1920 floor, okay, when you step over along this corridor, right, there's a chance that you will get to see the stadium side already. Coming to the biggest 3 bed 3 bath, this one has a proper landscape layout. And it's different from the previous, this so-called landscape one. Over here, we do get a proper landscape layout, and it's only available at level 2 to 6. Actually, it's good. Hopefully, the PSF, they don't price this unit too high because this unit is on the lower floor. Okay, and the master bedroom is over here. You get a bigger wardrobe tucked at this side. And my favorite, for District 15, you get a private lift. With that, you also get a big dry kitchen, which is very good for hosting. And the home shelter, right, is also not inside the kitchen itself. The home shelter is actually outside. So I feel like this kind, I can really use it as a helper's room. I may even install a door here for privacy for helper. And sometimes it's also about we don't want to see certain things, correct? The only so-called weakness about this layout is actually this bathroom here because it doesn't have a window. But I feel that because of the other good things that you get for this unit, right, I feel that this bathroom won't be the biggest issue. It's acceptable one. So just now we saw the 2 bed 1 bath. For the layout, it doesn't matter. Okay, so lousy layout, but once the PSF is attractive, end up the lousier layout sold at a higher quantum, even though the PSF is lower. So now when it comes to the 3 bed 3 bath, right, does the layout then matter or not? Let's see. The one on the left, come in here. Okay, anyway, both are non-sea facing. When we come in here, here is full glass. Then from the kitchen, right, you can actually flow up until here. So for the utility room, I feel it's actually very good space. In fact, here you can do storage. Here you can do helper room. This side you can close up. Or you can use the whole thing as a storeroom. In fact, for this storeroom or this utility room, right, you can even split up. Let me show you. So this side, you can make it as a study. And this side, you can make it as a storeroom. And of course, the master bedroom is also big. On the right side, this other layout, the kitchen is slightly shorter over here, but you get a yard area. And the kitchen here, only half of the panel is glass, but I feel it's still okay. Okay, for me, right, the thing is that, you know, when we come in here, this bedroom here is a bit tight Even though here you can access the common bathroom, right? And then this window here is a bit small because it's already not facing the same side like here, but yet the window is smaller. So to be honest, I will prefer this layout. I'm not sure whether you prefer the other one, but this one is my preferred one. Maybe you can use this to test yourself lah. But anyway, the left side layout performed better. In fact, when they purchase, this PSF is higher. This one is 2289 PSF. This one is 2096 PSF. And the floor level is also quite similar, 6th floor and 7th floor, both no sea view one. But this one, when they sell, right, the PSF also is higher, 2076. This one only managed to sell 2385 PSF. So that's the difference. In fact, actually layout does make a difference for the 3-bed 3-bath over here. So you can buy a higher PSF and still sell at a higher PSF. Again, right, I'm not here to say that, oh, this unit is a lousy buy. Please don't get me wrong, because end of the day, both earn money, correct? But I'm just here to do comparison only, so that maybe from here, you may have some takeaways from my sharing today. When I compare the 3-bed 3-bath with the new launches around like Meyer Blue, okay, if you compare A and B, I prefer A. Because this kitchen over here is something special. I have seen this kitchen in other areas, but in D15, this kind of kitchen, I don't see a lot. So far, I think that only Continuum 4-bedroom, the expensive premium block kind, then they have this kind of kitchen where the flow here is good. So it's located just right behind the living room. And I have seen this layout perform well in other areas. But I won't say that this 1087 square feet, this B layout, I don't say it's lousy, it's also nice. But if I compare A and B, then my personal preference is A. Okay, but the one that takes the cake for me is actually the 1238 square feet one. Let me draw a star here. In fact, this layout, even if the PSF is slightly higher, right, than Meyer Blue, right, I will still consider. Okay, because here you get private lift, you get landscape, living, dining, and this kind of landscape layout is, I feel, is quite important in District 15. And then of course the flow from the dry kitchen to wet kitchen is also very natural. And I can separate this space here also for the helper. So among these three, right, my top choice is actually the 1238 square feet. And if I compare with Meyer Blue, in fact, I don't mind pay a bit more for this layout. So I dare to say I might even consider up to 3,300 for this. But luckily, this one is on the lower floor. So if they price the units according to the level, that means lower floor, lower PSF, I may not even have to pay 3,300. But I'm really not sure how much the developers are going to launch. What I'm trying to say here is that if the layout is better, I may consider paying even above average PSF compared to those that have already transacted. Okay, and then if I compare A and B here, then maybe the PSF that I will pay for this unit will be slightly lesser, around this range. Okay, this is my personal take lah. End of the day, it's up to you. But I'm just sharing my viewpoints. Okay, finally at the 4 bedrooms. I can pang kang soon already. For 4 bedrooms total, we have 4 sizes. And out of these 4, right, 3 are one and only of its kind at Arena East. And then the last one, the 4th one, is a standard kind. Let's see. First one, the one and only at 19th floor, stack 3. 1324 square feet. Okay, here, right, originally got 2 units, But at 19th floor, they combine into 1 unit to make this one. Actually, the good thing about 19th and 20th floor, right, you can take the lift from both sides. So even though I stay here, I can, if I like, maybe I can take the lift here, and then at 19th floor, I just walk over home also can. Because here got 2 common lifts, then I just walk over. Okay. Anyway, essentially, right, for this layout, this side used to be the 3-bed 2-bath, if you recognize. And then this side used to be the 1-bedroom. Okay, earlier on, I didn't really like the 3-bed 2-bath because the living room, I find it too small. But now, when the living room is combined, I get this very, very sweet living room space. And I think that from this unit, you might be able to get good views. I cannot promise, but the chance is very, very high because it's on the 19th floor. We can see over here, this is the 19th floor. So, stack 3 should be facing this side. Okay, where at 19th floor, there's a very high chance we can get to see the sea and also over to the Stadium and MBS area. And here you get a junior master as well. So I like this layout. Just 1 floor upstairs, and this is the 1679 square feet layout. So what's the main difference over here? So for the unit downstairs, right, the entrance used to be here. And then for 20th floor, this is the additional part that comes out. So you get 1 more study and 1 more universal room, and the entrance have been changed to this side instead of here. And this area essentially becomes sort of like your dry kitchen area. So you have your fridge, you have your sink, you have your cooker over this side. And the ceiling is also higher over here because it's at the top floor, as you can see, something that looks like this. But for me, I feel that the dry kitchen here, right, is a bit too close to the main door already. And end up when I come in, right, I actually feel quite small. So what I will do with this layout, I prefer this part of the wet kitchen to shift in here. And then I shift my dry kitchen over to this side. So I changed, now this side becomes dry kitchen. Then this side I become wet kitchen. I may even consider making this study part of my junior master. So I can shift my wardrobe over to this side. If I buy this unit, this is what I will do. But in terms of the 19th floor and 20th floor, I actually prefer the 19th floor. So here we are at the last layout. This is the 1389 square feet, 4 bedrooms with private lift. And this will be at the 7th to 18th floor. Anything lower will be the 3 bedrooms. And for 19th floor, the one and only one as well, this one will be with a higher ceiling. That's why the size is 1604. So compared to the 1238 square feet, 3 bedrooms just now we saw, right? It's just that there is additional junior master done up over here. The rest, which is this part, technically is the same as the 1238 square feet we saw just now. So for me, this one will be my favorite 4 bedroom layout, followed by the 1324 square feet 4 bedroom layout at 19th floor we saw just now. If I compare with other new launches like Mayer Blue, this one is sea view leh. So for Arena East, right, probably only the 19th floor and the 20th floor will get sea view. So for the Arena East 1324 square feet, this one and only unit, I will seriously consider this unit because we'll have sea view. And maximum price I'm going to pay for this unit is 3,003 because it's on the higher floor. And for the 1389 square feet, right, maybe only around this price that I will consider. If we were to compare with the Mayer Blue layout, right, actually Mayer Blue layout can fight with Arena East layout, but just based on pricing alone and based on sea view, as mentioned just now, 3,003, I will consider this unit on the 19th floor. Otherwise, the price have to be lower for the non-sea facing unit, which I've circled here. So we have come to an end to this video, and honestly, to put all these things together, to do research on so many things, but end up only use 1 or 2 pointers, actually it takes a lot of time, and I'm very happy that this is done. So do support me and give me a like for this video, and feel free to drop me a DM if you have any queries regarding property or the market. It doesn't have to be regarding Arena East, anything also can. Okay, so thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.